And good morning, everyone. It is 11 o'clock, so we're just going to do a quick briefing here on the storm outbreak and what can we expect here in Flagler County. Now, we're looking at live radar from the National Weather Service, and you can see there are active tornado warnings. There's one here for, looks like Camden County up in Georgia, and we got severe thunderstorm warnings out here by Valdosta. And this activity has been slowly, the individual cells have been kind of going off to the northeast. Some are moving along at 45 miles an hour, but the actual line has been very slow to push east. So the eastward movement of this has not really been progressive. So what does that mean for us? Well, there's a couple different scenarios, and if we take a look at some of the models, this is the HRRR. Basically, it's a rapid refresh model, and if we run it, when we get into, and this model's updated every hour, when we get towards about noontime is when this shows the activity getting towards us at 2 o'clock. You notice how it starts to get broken up and scattered and breaking up a little bit here and there. So that does show potential for weakening. Now, if we go pull up the North American mesoscale model and we run it, and it actually kind of does the same thing. You notice how storms and everything kind of looks like they just absolutely lose their punch completely. But still a few cells thrown in. And this is like 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. So even 6, 7 o'clock, we got a couple cells coming into the county. So this is kind of like this. That model brings it in a lot later. And if we look at another high resolution model, we back it up here. And you can see all those storms blowing up. But then when it gets closer to us, notice things kind of skip around a little bit. Things kind of break up. And some of these are signs that this activity is going to weaken as it gets towards us here. But we're not off the hook. And we'll explain why that is in a little bit. But running some more of these models here, you can see this one, they call it the Worf model, like Star Trek, Worf. This one actually keeps things fairly intact and gets the activity in here about 2 o'clock. So there's quite a bit of spread by the time, this gets here on what time this actually gets here. And there's some spread on, is it going to hold together when it gets here? So let's take a look at some satellite imagery right now. And actually, let's load up the lightning so that way we can see where the storms are at. So we can see out here in the Gulf, there's some pretty intense storms. All of this is lightning here, waiting for it to catch up so we can see how things are moving here. Down here in southern Florida, nice sunny day. Those clouds are thickening up. But you notice there is a progression to the east here. So some of these cells out here in the Gulf of Mexico, pretty intense. There's an intense cell there. But there's also gaps in here as well. So when this gets to us, will Flagler County fit in one of the gaps, or will we get hit by a storm? That's the thing we don't know yet. And that's why, even though there are some signals that this is going to break up a little bit as it gets closer to us, there's still a chance that one of these cells could hit us. So it's not a solid wall of storms. You can definitely see, as far as lightning is concerned, that there are some breaks in the action. Now, there's some rain filling in between this, but it's the lightning. These areas here is where you see your potential of severe weather. And like I said, there's tornado warnings for that cell right now and severe thunderstorm warnings for this cell over here moving into the Big Bend region, and some other activity further out to sea in the Gulf, and that activity will be sliding ashore. And sometimes what happens for some of these systems too is as these cells come in off the Gulf of Mexico, that they will weaken when they get over land. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is all this cloud cover here, and what all this cloud cover is doing, it's preventing the sun from getting in here to heating the atmosphere up. Because one of the things that these storms love is heat. And down here in southern Florida, plenty of sunshine, plenty of heat. Matter of fact, I can see the clouds building up stuff down there. But we have this shielded cloud that's been with us since sunrise, and that actually may help minimize the storms that we get. May minimize. That's the key word there, because there's other elements at play, such as the winds going different directions with altitude. Winds are like out of the south at the surface, but up aloft, they're going this way. And that can cause the spinning of the storms. Basically, there's enough elements in there for the Weather Service to be concerned about the potential for severe weather. So let's take a look at the details of all of this now. As a matter of fact, I just saw another warning come in for up in Georgia. So this is the headlines, and this was updated as of 8 o'clock this morning. So we have a tornado watch. It's in place through 3 o'clock today. We'll have to see if that watch gets extended beyond 3 o'clock or what happens with that. Scattered severe thunderstorms are possible through to Sunday evening. Down our way, it's going to be more towards the evening. And, of course, we have a high risk of rip currents at the beaches. And, of course, not a good day for boating, small craft advisory. So Tornado watch. Tornado watch is in place until 3 o'clock. That includes all of Flagler County. And that means anywhere in this area here that there could be a brief tornado. And it also means that there is a risk of gusts up to 50 to 70 miles per hour and hail with any thunderstorms that might get going in this area. It does not mean that every single square inch of this area is going to see storms. It means that that risk exists in this area. So will we get hit? That's always the big question. We could get completely missed, but the places where storms do occur, they can be quite intense. So let's take a look at the risk levels now. So the Storm Prediction Center has this entire area under slight risk. This is an expansion from yesterday. So in this yellow area here, it means that there's scattered severe thunderstorms are likely. Again, the word scattered is the operative word here. It means hit or miss. It means if you just took a whole handful of marbles and threw them out onto that map, wherever they hit, the areas are going to get hit. There's just no way to know specifically Flagler County is going to get hit or not. But right now, for overall, we have a 15% chance of seeing gusts up to 58 miles an hour or stronger in any of those thunderstorms should they develop and impact us. There's a 5% chance of seeing hail greater than 1 inch in diameter. There's a 5% chance of isolated tornadoes. Localized flooding from heavy rainfall is also possible as this storm system passes by. So as you go further south, see that green, that's a lesser risk up there and a lesser risk there. So we're square in the middle of it. But again, where does this lie with, the severe weather risks? So the green is the lowest level. The yellow is the second lowest level. And some of those areas that we saw, we've been watching in the news and watching online where they've really been hammered with tornadoes and where there's been significant loss of life, they had risk levels of up to 4 and 5. So we're not in that category whatsoever. So we're not expecting widespread severe thunderstorms. But there will be a few out there, and exactly where they're going to go is the big question. So what's the timing? So we saw the spread on the models. Those models I was showing you guys. So we saw that. And right now we're looking at between 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the evening for Flagler County. And if I were to lay a bet, I would suspect probably the lower end of this, the 4, 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock time frame. I would suspect that with the timing of the storm system based on current radar trends and the models. But like I said, things can speed up too. So that's the window we're going to be looking for. And again, the main concerns is going to be that risk of damaging winds. Again, any of those thunderstorms, should they get going, could produce those winds up to 70 miles an hour. And of course, there's a very low risk of hail and a lower risk of catching a tornado. So we do have a wind advisory that's in place. That includes Flagler County. Sustained winds 15 to 25 miles an hour. Gusts up to 40 miles an hour. Now, this is not winds or thunderstorms. This is just the winds all day long. Overall, winds gusting up to 40 miles an hour is not really that big of a deal. But if you haven't done it yet, if you got any empty trash cans, rubbish cans outside, you got any lightweight lawn decorations or, anything like that can be blown about easily by the wind, I would get those in and just to get those secure because it's going to be breezy to windy all day long. So boaters, there is a small craft advisory for the coastal waters. Again, quite gusty out there, especially when you get a little bit away from the beaches. Seas 5 to 8 feet. And so some big waves out there. So it's not a good day to take your little boat out in the ocean. I wouldn't do that. Intercoastal might be a little bumpy. But again, those storms are going to be coming in too. So if you do get out on the water, just have an idea, have ways of watching the weather. There's a high risk rip currents for our beaches as well. So if you got friends in town, spring breakers, that kind of thing. Now, ocean temperature is rather chilly. It's 63 degrees, but there's a high risk of dangerous rip currents out there. It's usually the folks from out of town and get in trouble with these rip currents. So make sure they know how to get out of them if they go swimming. Again, it's not really a good day for swimming. So taking a look at some further details here, this is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. And again, Flagler County squarely in that risk area for severe thunderstorms. Again, the tornado risk right now, about a 5% chance of seeing a tornado, a 15% chance of seeing strong squally winds, and a 5% chance of seeing damaging hail with this. And taking a closer look at the tornado watch as soon as I get the website to catch up here. This is what happens when you do live. And we're waiting for that to come back around. Actually, we got a better idea. I'm going to go back here and let's go look at the local. Let's take a look at some local expectations here. Again, here's a closer look of that severe risk area. We are in that, again, at a slight risk, meaning scattered severe thunderstorms are likely anywhere in this region. And let's get to the local area. What can we expect as far as winds are concerned? And let's get to that. And let's go to wind gust. And so through today, we're looking at gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour up by Marineland, 25 to 30 at Flagler Beach, 25 to 30 at Beverly Beach, Flagler Beach inland, 30 to 35, 30 to 35. I wouldn't even be surprised to see a gust up to 40 miles an hour. Overall, it's just going to be a breezy to windy day throughout today. And taking a look at rainfall, how much rain are we going to get out of this? So let's take a look at rainfall amounts. And let's go for the next 24 hours. Not really that much, maybe up to an inch for Flagler County in some places. So we're not expecting, we could get a good sustained downpour. This is what's expected on average. Rainfall amounts may be heavier locally. So anyway, so to wrap things up, let's go back to the radar here. Let's go into and take a look at this radar. So to wrap things up, we do have this area of broken showers and storms. And you see there's an active tornado warning up here in Georgia right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings for Lake City. So a cluster moves there. And you notice how there are gaps in this. So as these move in, it's just where will they go? And will we be in a gap between storms? Or will we get hit with several storms? Notice how some of them are lining up in some instances here. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how that is going to shake out. Now, taking a look at how winds are blowing out there right now. So let's take a look at the Hammock Dunes Bridge. And right now we're seeing gusts up to 23 miles an hour at the Hammock Dunes Bridge there. Temperature 76 degrees. Taking a look at Marineland, it's another place where we see high winds because it's kind of exposed. And we're seeing gusts up to 22 miles an hour there, also 76 degrees. Let's take a further look. Let's go back here to Hammock Dunes and let's take a look at the radar, because we can take the radar, have a little bit more detail of what's going on. So let's go ahead and get into radar and let's zoom out a little bit. Whoops. And let's get zoomed out. So again, here are some of the storms. So here's Flagler County. It's right about here. Here's all these storms out over the Gulf. And all of this is kind of moving this direction, but at the same time kind of sliding off to the east. So we'll have to see if all this stuff holds together. That's a pretty impressive line out there over the water. So we'll have to see if that holds together or do they weaken as they move ashore. So that's going to wrap things up for right now. Thank you for watching. And, of course, keep an eye on our Facebook page. We'll be posting updates as the storm system progresses. Everybody out there, have a great day. Be safe.